Well, hello, and welcome to the Ram Show. It is Sunday. Why do I want to say August? It's not August. It's September 2nd, 2018. I really need to start looking at the date before I open the show every week. So, anyway. Hi, Zach. How's it going? So, full disclaimer for this week. I'm feeling better now, but I think either something in the air, something around this area, something, I was, like, sneezing and runny nose like crazy earlier today. I've taken some allergy stuff, so hopefully that will knock that out, but, if I start sneezing uncontrollably, you know why. So just full disclaimer this week. Yeah, man, that was not fun. This whole morning. Well, I guess I wouldn't say this entire morning, but, from, noon until about, 4:15 or so, 4:30, I had a massive headache and was not enjoying life. So, anyway. So, it's amazing that I finished producing the show. But, anyway. Some fun updates real quick, because we always love to do updates before we start the show, really. So, I made a purchase. I got something, but it's not something tangible that I can hang on to. It's more of a security thing, right? So, I actually signed up for what I think was a pretty good deal. I was going to say 3 months, but no. 3 years of VPN service. For a VPN service. For a virtual private network service. For $99. So how do you think I made off? $99. $99, 3 years for a VPN service. For $99. 99. Yes. So, anyway, what I'm finding out, though, is that it has some hindrance on my speed sometimes. So, right now, I have it turned off. I need to tune it a little bit so that, because, I was getting a horrible connection to, a streaming connection to the YouTube servers. So, I had to turn it off in order to actually stream the show right now. So, I wouldn't say it's as much of a big deal at home because, okay, fine, whatever, my ISP knows where I'm going. That doesn't bother me super much. But, for something like my phone, if I'm out at a coffee shop or something like that, or public Wi-Fi, it gives me a little more security assurance. You know what I mean? So, anyway. But, yeah, so that's my purchase for this week. I wanted to ask you something real quick, right? So, there's one piece of my setup that still needs some upgrading, and it's a piece that a lot of people probably don't think about, but it is slightly an important piece, okay? So, I've upgraded the system, so better specs, better graphics, everything like that. My peripherals got updated a long time ago. I'm using a mechanical keyboard. I've got a nice mouse, right? I've got dual monitors for the productivity in the screen real estate, right? So there's one thing that is left to kind of upgrade for my whole setup. Any guesses? Well, maybe two things, but there's one in particular. Well, the first one that I'm going to say that's going to wait a little bit longer probably is the desk. I want to upgrade the desk. And I've talked about this before. I want to do a custom solution because I want a desk that is literally 6 feet long and 3 feet deep. It's going to be a crazy, insane desk, but it's what I want. And I want the length and the depth mainly for productivity. So, can spread screens across it, maybe even pick up a third monitor. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, then I can be on Zach's level, I guess. So, I mean, how often do you actually use your third monitor? Okay, so, I could actually utilize a third screen, actually, I think, for certain things. So that's something, right? But no, the desk is something I want to do at some point. The chair. The chair is the next thing I want to upgrade in my setup. So this is just a cheap, like, Walmart chair that's actually Mine is, so it's covered in, like, the fake leather stuff, and it's actually starting to come off. Yep, mine is peeling off. Well, okay. So the chair is something I wanted to upgrade for a long time, but I've always wanted to wait until I had the new system built, right? Because that was more important to me than getting a new chair. The reason I did the peripherals was because they were something I was going to use in the future, and it was something that I could utilize with my other system, and they were pretty cheap, too. So, anyway. Plus, I wanted to get used to them before I had the new system put in place. That was kind of the other part of it. More so the keyboard. Anyway, I will say this. Getting used to a mechanical keyboard took a little bit of time, because I was used to a membrane keyboard with no... You know what? I use them enough at work and things like that, like, I don't really notice the difference all that much. I will say, I think it's more of a subconscious thing, though. I will say I prefer my mechanical keyboard over a membrane keyboard any day. It's just a far better experience. But what took a little getting used to was, especially like my password, I have multiple characters that repeat, like, one after the other. And so it took a little getting used to of not tapping the keys too many times. But anyway, so that's something that, because, like, this one, you know, you barely have to push the key down for it to register. And then with the anti-ghosting, too, you know, you can, like, smash every key on it and they'll all register or whatever. Well, they won't all register. I don't remember how many rollover characters this keyboard has. I want to say it's like 6 or 8, but I could be wrong on that. Anyway. So, no. Is it more than 10? Anyway, so, no, the chair is the next thing I want to upgrade. I'm thinking, and let me ask you, because I want to get... Oh, hold on. Okay. I thought I hit your... I was adjusting things the other day. I thought I hit your... Maybe I double-tapped it by accident.
Was I not on?
I swear you were at the beginning. No. You're on now.
Oh, no. Yeah. That's a good one.
Hang on a second here. I need to adjust your level. Here, I need you to talk.
I am talking right now. You're adjusting me right now? Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, you're still a little high there. Okay, we're gonna try that. I like I said, I was adjusting some things the other day, so I'm still working out some problems with Redmond. I think everyone can hear you now. I swear I remembered tapping the one that was yours. I swear I turned it on. So, you know what? Hang on one second here. Let me look at something here. Okay, those are exactly the same. I don't know. OBS is weird sometimes. Anyway, so here's what I wanted to ask you, right? I'm looking at getting one of those, like, gaming chairs. Okay?
I know nothing about them.
You know nothing about them. Oh, and I don't know much about them either, but is it something that you would purchase, or do you just kind of not care?
I don't really care, honestly.
Okay, so the one that I'm thinking about going with, it's the brand that I think I heard first, and I think kind of has the best pricing. I could be wrong, but is GT Omega. So I'm thinking about ordering a GT Omega chair at some point.
I do not even know the name, actually.
So they have a bunch of different brands, or not a bunch of different styles. So let's see here. And I mean, they range in prices, right? So they make office chairs. This is interesting. Oh yeah, I think this is kind of what I'm looking at. But basically what they've done is they've taken a, like, legit car, like a racing chair out of a car, right? And they have basically, hold on one second here. Let me find the correct graphic. There we go. Okay. Excuse me. So they, if you open up that link there, basically they've taken like an actual racing chair from a car, right? And modified it so that it fits on a base. But the idea behind them is they're supposed to be really comfortable, and you're supposed to be able to sit in them for really long periods of time, which is great if I'm like editing a video or doing even like, you know, schoolwork or something like that. So, anyway, these are of course all in euros. I think there's a United States option here. So, I mean, some of them are a lot more expensive than other chairs, or like, you know, some of their offerings. So, let's see here. Like these office ones here are like $300. I think some of the gaming ones are like the...
Yeah, see, that looks like more than I would spend on a chair.
Well, okay, so here's what I figure, right? Is it's something that... let's see here. It's something that I plan to have for a long time. Well, see, these ones are even more expensive. These are like in the $350 range now. So, but there's different brands to look at. Yeah, so some of these are more expensive. Let's see here. That's $289. But hang on, let's look at the racing seats. Oh no, those are without the stands there. Anyway, so it's something that I've been considering. It's something that I want to do at some point. But like I said, I figure it's one of those things where I plan to have it for a long time, and so I figure I can constitute spending the money on it. But anyway, all right, tech topics for this week. Okay, what are we doing? So you've heard of the company Nest before, right, Zach?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so they had a problem the other day. Of course, we got some Microsoft news here. We're talking about updates to Windows 10. Oh joy! Some net neutrality stuff, which is kind of interesting. Nothing that really concerns like everyone as a whole, unless you live in California, but it's still cool. And then we've got some AMD news and some Intel news to cover this week. Oh, and a quick rapid-fire story. Apparently Apple has a self-driving car, and something happened that we can... I thought we were going to be able to laugh at it more, but, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. So, anyway. Getting into topics for this week, right? So, Nest Security Systems had a partial outage on Tuesday. Okay?
Did they?
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Well, that's not really something that should be happening.
Well, okay, and here's the part. Here's the thing, right? So it was on Nest Security Systems. They were down all morning. Okay? So the control unit is called the Nest Guard, and people were reporting that it was down since about 4 a.m. Eastern time, so 5 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is our time zone, right? So here's the thing. While the devices were offline, right, users could not control the unit using the app, which of course makes sense because the app, I would imagine, has to go up to the cloud and then comes back down. It doesn't just work over a local area network. Although I don't know why it couldn't work that way. So,
I feel like you might run into some trouble with like authentication that way. I don't know. You'd have to devise an authentication solution that can work entirely locally.
Well, okay, but no, see, okay, so my Harmony Hub app, right, for my Harmony remote system, if I'm in the house, right, it just looks for a hub on the Wi-Fi network. But if I can control it from outside the home, right? So I need a password initially to log into the account and get all the stuff, right? And then it stores all those activities locally in the app. And then if I'm in the house, right? So if I wanted to turn on like my TV or sound system or whatever, I can open the app and it looks for the hub on the Wi-Fi network. If I'm outside of my local area network, it will use it'll go through the cloud then to connect back into the home to access it. So I don't know if it's different or it's a security thing or whatever that they don't offer that solution for in-home. Or you're right, it could be an authentication problem too. So anyway, but the system continued to monitor. See, okay, so here's the thing, right? So the system continued to monitor security sensors, and the only way I can even remotely think that would work is, again, it's just doing it locally, through the local area network. Everything's connected wirelessly through your local network. But see, here's the thing then. So it's unclear, however, if the unit would have been able to call out if there was an interruption, because I imagine it's kind of a voice over IP solution and not like and I don't know if traditional home security systems do this anymore. I know at one point they were like hardwired into like the phone line. And then I think they introduced like some backup solution, because think about it, somebody could cut the phone line and you're SOL anyway. So,
yep.
But there were more than a dozen people that tweeted about it and said that their guard had been disconnected in the middle of the night. So, and I guess they also make a product called the Nest times, I want to say it's the Nest times Yale, but it's Nest X Yale. So I'm thinking that's the Nest times Yale log. Anyway, so that was also said to be experiencing some problems as well. Now, I don't know if like the other Nest products weren't working or what. I'm not sure, but I know for sure the security stuff wasn't working. That's what the article says here. So, but Nest did release a statement. So here's their statement, okay? And a statement that they provided in the afternoon, Nest said the problem impacted a quote-unquote limited number of devices and that they were now coming back online. While those devices could not be controlled through the Nest app while offline, they were still accessible via physical interaction and continued to function, the company wrote. So, okay.
Right. So, what functions are not, functional while it's disconnected like that, though?
I'm hoping just the ability to control it through the app.
I would hope so as well,
especially being a security product. If the product isn't able to, shall we say, call out, right? If there is an intrusion, that would be a major flaw.
That would be a huge, huge flaw.
And kind of defeat the purpose of the whole security portion of it. So, but now, and here's the other thing. So Nest never actually gave maybe they did, but in the article that we had, right, Nest never gave a reason as to what basically happened ultimately. So they were like, oh, okay, something happened, but they never said exactly what happened. So I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a bad thing or what. But anyway. So, and it's still unclear, and as we said, how much of the system was actually functional or non-functional. So, again, I would hope that the calling out feature, the most, what I would say probably most critical part of the whole system is still worked. So, and rightfully, right? Think about this. So you have this device, right? It's acting as your security system, and it goes down. Rightfully, there were some homeowners that were concerned. And I give them that, for sure.
Okay? They have every right to be.
Exactly. And as we said, any downtime with a device like this is a critical flaw.
That is bad.
Yeah. Now, the system launched last September, okay? And then they cut the price by about $100 earlier this summer, right? But here's the thing about this, okay? You don't have the article, or you don't have the document open, so I guess I'm whatever. I would say you probably should, but that's up to you, I guess. The fact that you don't have
I
it
got
open,
myself covered.
Oh, did you open up the? What do you mean you have yourself covered? You don't have either the rundown nor the document open.
And I'm doing all right, aren't I?
Yes, but see, here's the thing. I would like for you to have the document open so that you can provide more insights by looking through the topics.
We always go through this.
I know, but I'd like to have more in-depth thoughts from Zach during the show. Although, I guess the way the show kind of works, I present everything, and then you basically provide your feedback. But I feel like that feedback would be a lot better sometimes, or more insightful, if you actually had the bullet points in front of you, too. So, ideally, I'd like for you to read through the topics, but I know you're not going to do that, so that's what the document is partially for. But even though you don't have it open, right? Okay.
I always do fine. You can't say anything else.
Right. But, you know what, okay? I challenge you to at least 1 week, okay? Open at least the document and read through it ahead of time, okay? And then do the show, okay? I want to see the comparison. I challenge you at least 1 week.
So where were we?
Okay, fine, whatever. All right. So, any guesses? See, I guess I can do this. This is the only good thing about you not having the article open, right? Or the document open. How much does this thing cost, Zach?
A few $100.
What's a few $100?
I don't know.
Give me a number.
$3.99.
You're
$2.99.
You're actually.
I've never surfed for a home security system before.
You know, your ability to guess prices sometimes is scary. You said $3.99. You're off by $1. $400.
Oh. I don't need some documents to tell me. I just know.
Great. This is all gonna go to his head now. Anyway, so, yeah. So, it now costs $400 because they slashed $100 off, right? But the system offers pro monitoring while bringing the whole DIY solution, versus like having a professional company come in and like drill holes through your walls and, you know, wire everything up and having to pay the money for all that stuff. But the thing is, Nest is going up against some competition here. Okay, so there's a company called Ring, and I'm sure you've heard of that company before, Zach.
It's called Ring?
Yeah, the Ring doorbell. It's the video doorbell. That's what they're known for.
I don't know if I know that one.
You've never heard of Ring before? It's like the Wi-Fi connected doorbell, right? That people have, but it's got video functioning in it. It's got a video function in it too.
I really don't follow at all the home automation stuff. So
okay, well anyway, so Ring has been around for they've probably been around for about the same amount of time. But the product that I first learned about from Nest was the thermostat. That's the one that I think of. I'm sure that's what people associate Nest with primarily, is the Nest thermostat.
Yes.
When I think of Ring, I think of the Ring doorbell. Anyway, so Ring offers their solution as well, but for half the cost. Okay? And Ring is an established AI company right now. No. Is it AI or home automation? Home automation company right now. So, here's the other thing. This is not the first time Nest products have gone down. Okay? Now, I think...
And when was the last time they went down? How long ago?
That is a good question.
Now, this stuff should not happen often.
Wait, okay. Often, okay? Let's see here.
And I feel like it wasn't even that long ago that they went and
I think we
they had
covered
a
it.
little
Yeah,
problem.
the entire Nest ecosystem of smart home devices went offline. This article is from May 17th.
Oh, come on. Not
Uh,
even 4 months ago?
yeah, and that was the entire
Yeah, that's a big load of
line.
crap.
Let me ask you though. Okay, in the world of connected devices, right? Okay, uh, technology and connectivity has got pretty good, and there are ways to create fail over, protections and things like that, right? But I have to ask you this question. Do you think it is fair for even large technological companies like these to have outages every once in a while?
To have outages every once in a while, you said?
Every once in a while.
I can't hear.
Okay. Yes, every once in a while.
I mean, it's gonna happen. Like, stuff happens, but
Okay.
I mean, it feels like stuff is happening more often than it should be.
Okay, and that's the thing. When it happens more often than it should, then yes, there's a problem there. But that's what I'm saying. I think my personal opinion is that, maybe once or twice a year it goes down for whatever reason, right? I think companies are entitled to that. You do your best, but the system isn't always going to 100% work. So
like they need to be trying to attain like the highest level of uptime possible.
right. So a good example of
For
this,
such a critical system, this needs to be up always, 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 always. And if there is anything that is capable of going down, it should only be things that are not critical, like the ability to control it using the app. I mean, okay,
yeah. Well,
it's probably a core part of the device, but
yeah, there needs to be a failover option.
It's not going to be the difference between somebody being able to burglarize your house and getting stopped.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay, if there's a little downtime there, people will live, but
yeah, I think with maybe a security option, right? So like, I don't know, like I said, if this is how this works, but I think maybe with a traditional security system, I think I don't know if they even do this anymore, but see, this would make sense, right? This makes sense to me, at least, like a traditional security system, right? So not only having the option to have it directly wired into your phone lines, right? Although a lot of people don't have landlines anymore. We still do. Does your family still have a landline, Zach?
I don't even know.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I think maybe, but I don't think it's hooked up to anything.
Well, then you don't have a landline.
That's
really
why I
anymore.
say I don't know. Yeah, we basically don't.
So we still have a landline.
It still exists. I'm sure it does.
A lot of people have opted to just use cell phones, and a lot of people don't have landlines anymore. But anyway, I think not only having the option of like directly wiring it into the phone lines, right? But having a failover, right? So if somebody cuts the phone line, right, having a internet backup or something, because having two ways to get the notification to your command center or whatever, or your monitoring center, I think is a beneficial thing. So, but
I'm really not sure what kind of options would there be for that. The only thing that I could really think of is satellite.
Yeah, and satellites are not perfect either.
It doesn't have to be. Okay, I mean, satellite is not known for having the most bandwidth or anything, which is fine. It's not not a lot of data getting sent there. But at the same time, what if the weather's bad?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Somebody who wants to burglarize your house can just wait till the weather's terrible, then cut the internet. and then your satellite backup won't work, and they'll have free reign to steal your stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, right? So
that sounds a little bit silly.
Well,
but,
no.
I mean,
okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I was just about to take that angle, kind of, right? So, Dish Network, right? We've probably all seen the commercials online, on TV. Don't let this happen when the weather, when there's a thunderstorm, and it's like showing like it's usually a cable company commercial where they're like, get cable because then, your signal doesn't go out during thunderstorms and things like that. I'm sure you're familiar with those commercials somewhat, Zach, right?
There's countless advertisements for cable and satellite and all kinds of and entertainment networks.
But the thing is, right? With those, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, but the thing is, with those smaller dishes, right? Yeah, when a thunderstorm rolls through, yeah, it breaks up the signal, right?
It would, I guess, yeah, it would be. I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm gonna interject before you.
Okay.
I think it would be very impractical to have to install a giant dish for your back connectivity for this system.
That's not where I was going with that, but...
Is that not where you're going? Okay.
No, it was not where I was going with it.
Where you're going.
It was not where I was going with it, but I agree. No. Again, and I've said this before, so I work at a TV station, right? So our network programming for primetime comes down through a satellite. And we're talking, big satellites. Satellite dishes.
Big dish.
Right?
Now, much better than your average home dish network.
It does work better. Storm. Yeah, it does work a lot better than your average small home dish during a storm, right? But it's nice to know that, and I might be off on the price on this a little bit, but it's nice to know that $20,000 satellite dishes are still affected by thunderstorms.
Yeah, see, if even that can be affected by a storm, I mean, satellite's probably not.
Yeah, we had strong storms blow through the other morning, and I just happened to wake up early. I think maybe because of the storm, but anyway, I flipped on the TV. Right, we were in satellite programming, network programming that's coming through over the satellite. It was the network morning news, and I saw the signal starting to break up, and it looks like. It legit looks like when you're streaming something off of YouTube and all the bits aren't there, where you start getting like the green lines and stuff like that. That's what it looks like when it is missing data. And so I started to see that, right? And then the next thing I know, there's just no signal at all. It just throws us to black. So wait a couple minutes, a little trouble slate comes up in the corner. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Please stand by.
So anyway, hey, we actually have one of those. This one right here. We'll be right back. We haven't had to use it for a long time. That's actually a really good thing. So, anyway.
Well, the lesser you have to use it, the better.
Right, especially now with Redmond being built. The system doesn't crash as much anymore or anything like that, so that's always good. In fact, I don't remember. Well, the last time... See, that graphic serves two purposes. It serves a purpose of technical difficulties if we can still stream, right? But it also serves the purpose of if we need to take a break for whatever reason, that we have that graphic there too. So, anyway. But... moving on to Windows, or not Windows news, Microsoft news. Oh, hang on. How could I forget the Microsoft news open? Almost forgot that, but we got it in there. How could I forget that we have that? I made that specifically for the show, because we always cover Microsoft news. So
it's just a staple now, I guess.
Right. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is why Microsoft News became a staple of the show. It became a permanent segment of the show, and that was that when we were starting the RAM show, we kept finding stories like, it was kind of consistently every single week that, like, Microsoft had done something dumb. And so it was at that point where we decided, we're going to try to find the dumbest thing that Microsoft has done this week and
make fun of them a little bit.
Cover it. And, yeah, and make fun of them. This week, this is one of those... See, sometimes we get really, really good stories. Sometimes we actually do take a different angle and we're like, oh, Microsoft actually did something cool or good. Like last week where they decided to team up with Amazon and link Cortana with Alexa. Kind of a smart move on Google's part. Or not Google's part, on Microsoft's part. This week is one of those weeks where it's... Here's something Microsoft is doing, but how will they inevitably end up screwing it up? So, anyway. And this week, we're talking about the new release, the new major update for Windows 10. Codenamed Redstone 5, right? And I don't know if naming committees are just getting lazier, or if they were on vacation again this time, because you want to know what the official name for this release is, Zach?
Something about creators or whatever, isn't it?
No. It's the Windows 10 October 2018 update. That is the official name that they went with. Really? Come on. The code name, Redstone 5, was better than that. They should have just stuck with the code name. Anyway. So, it's going to arrive in October. Yay! Does this mean Zach will finally need to update his computer? Stay tuned to find out.
I'll have to probably fight Microsoft some more over them wanting to forcefully upgrade my system.
Right? Okay,
sorry, I meant to say downgrade.
So what happened?
Grade.
Yeah, what happened last time? Like, didn't you, like, get to the point where you're like, okay, fine, I guess I have to install the update or whatever? And then it just, like, started boot looping?
And then it started blue screening.
Oh, yeah.
No, it actually, started boot looping, and then it
did
decided
that
didn't work, so we're going to go back. And it went back, and now it just pesters me about it all the time.
Did you ever get a,
I never updated after that.
No. Did you ever get blue screens or not?
I occasionally actually do get blue screens. It's quite irritating.
Do you get the giant, like, you know...
And since it always just flashes on the screen and then it's gone, I never get to find out what the actual error is. However, I recently learned of an option where you can basically disable the auto read.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that there is an option somewhere. Is it in the BIOS?
So that
or is it within Windows?
Just stay on the screen.
Yep.
It's in Windows.
Is it in Windows? Yeah. I know there was an option for that. Apparently, you weren't paying attention during class, because I'm pretty sure that your favorite instructor
talked about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
I actually don't remember that.
Well, I mean, come on. He was only your favorite instructor.
Well, it didn't really take me long to figure that out just by looking some stuff up, so...
No, he covered that for sure, though. I remember that. You might have not been in that class. That might have been it.
Maybe.
Either that or you weren't paying attention, which
Which class was it called?
I don't remember. I don't remember. You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Because I definitely don't remember that.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Don't use names.
You say my favorite, but you say sarcastically.
Yeah,
right?
don't use names. That's why.
So you say my favorite, but you're saying that sarcastically.
Exactly.
Right?
I am saying it sarcastically.
Yep, I know exactly. The only difference would be whether you say that statement sarcastically or
not sarcastically.
And I will know.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. If I say it sarcastically, you know. If I don't, then you also know. So anyway, no. You didn't mind the other instructor, did you? No. Definitely not. No. The instructor that we're talking about, you and him didn't necessarily always see eye to eye, in most cases. So, anyway.
Well, it's whatever.
Yeah, moving on. So yeah, so this new update is going to arrive in October. Again, will it force Zach to upgrade his system finally?
I
Or
will not, because I am not boot looping again.
At
Microsoft.
some point,
No, I don't know why that ever happened, but I'm actually kind of in the back of my mind planning a maybe major overhaul of my system. So you know what? If that happens, I'll probably
you know what? Okay,
have to reinstall
hang
Windows
on,
2.
hang on. Okay, so speaking of reinstalling Windows, right? So what do you think about this idea? Okay, it's something I've wanted to do. I just need to look into how to do it. Right? Is building a and you might know what the term is called, but basically building a pre-configured system, right? A fresh install with all the updates, all the bloatware or crapware, as I like to call it, removed, with Firefox, maybe Chrome, Spybot Anti-Beacon, all pre-installed, right? And then having that as a boot image, basically.
I'm sure you can do that.
You
I
can.
don't know how exactly you would do that, and I do see a couple problems with that, mostly driver related.
Okay, but see, you can always leave drivers out and reinstall them afterwards. You can use generic drivers.
I suppose, yeah.
But what do you think of that solution?
I mean, if it can be made to work, big thumbs up. I love it.
Right? If I can, right? Is it something that you'd want access to the ISO image of? I'm sure.
I mean, I would love to help make it, probably.
You know what? We'll have to talk about that at some point then. Maybe we can figure out. You know what? With Redmond, what we could do is use a virtual machine, right, to probably create our boot image, and then.
Well, yeah, you could just create a. Well, Yeah, I'm not sure how you would do that.
Well,
I would have to. I think it would be different than that, though, than what you're getting.
No, I think basically what you do, you create it, you create.
Like you set it up the way you want, and then you package it into an image, right? Is what you're thinking?
Something like that. I don't know. We'll have to do some research on that.
But
Like
that's not how it's done. We'll have to see.
We'll figure something out. There's a way to do it. I know there is. But anyway, no, that'd be something to look into, because then that way, when we need to reinstall an operating system or whatever, we just, throw it on a flash drive, plug it in, let it do its thing, and then everything is already pre-configured kind of at a base level. And you shouldn't have to deal with.
Actually, though, what I may end up doing is I may end up just because I'm going to reuse my storage devices, so I may just use the same boot drive, not reinstall anything, and just nuke drivers and put new ones.
At some point, I think it's always a good idea to do a fresh.
Yeah, I feel like that's
install.
Probably not a super smart thing to do. I just don't really feel like setting up everything.
Well, and that's why if we build a pre-configured, pre-packaged system, right?
Well, yeah, but then I still need to put all my stuff in there. Yeah, you're right. There is less to do with it.
So anyway, something to look into, actually, and I think that's something that you could get on board with. We'll have to look into doing that. Maybe we do like a live stream of us, trying to set that up or whatever, or something. Anyway, so here's what this new update is going to include. It's going to include a number of new features. There's a new cloud clipboard, which, okay, I don't know really what that is. I guess maybe being able to copy and paste things between different computers or something. There's a dark file explorer. I have no idea what that is either.
Probably it's just a dark theme for the file explorer.
That's what I thought, right? They're going to do some updates to the snipping tool, which is actually really cool. So, when you do a screen grab, like a screen capture, right? How do you do it?
Right, yeah.
No, I'm asking, how do you do it?
Actually, I rather like Snipping Tool. If I'm going to save it locally, it's with Snipping Tool.
Okay, so I never really played with the Snipping Tool, so I did the classic print the screen, open up Paint, put it in Paint, save it out of Paint.
Yeah, see, snipping tool is actually really nice because it crops it for you.
Yeah.
Or you can crop as you're
So
taking the screen.
now when I do that, I probably will. I have to remember that. But see, okay, I'm actually really used to just printing the screen, right? And then actually instead of using Paint nowadays, I use Photoshop. So anyway, and then there's going to be performance in the Xbox game bar. Like they're gonna add, I guess, maybe a performance graph or something. I'm not sure. Oh, and updates to everyone's favorite web browser in the world,
Edge.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Ugh.
I will give Microsoft this, right? Edge is less of a disaster than IE, but it's still a disaster.
Okay, but that's really not an achievement.
Maybe for Microsoft.
Well, I mean, okay, like you're talking about being superior to a dumpster fire. Like, I mean, it doesn't really take much.
Yeah, Internet Explorer is just horrible. So, anyway. Now, Microsoft is expected to conclude development of the October update by the end of September, and it should be available to Windows insiders by early October, followed by regular customers. Now, Microsoft is also focusing on its next Windows 10 update, codenamed 19H1, which will likely arrive in April of 2019. So, anyway. I really think... See, because Windows 10 is supposed to be the last operating system from Windows, from Microsoft. It's just supposed to keep getting updates. So...
You know, I just wonder if maybe someday they'll just get tired of it. Like, maybe someday they will just decide that it would be better for marketing to come up with a new number or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, the theory...
Like, it's easier to push people to, you know, quote unquote upgrade if you can say, well, look, this new operating system it's completely new and it's not just an add-on to the already existing Windows 10, so you should get it.
But here's the thing, Zach. You're forgetting it's Microsoft, and they'll just forcibly upgrade you anyways.
That's true. Like they did with Windows 10. Oh, what's this? My refrigerator got a Windows 10 upgrade. Nice. I mean, that's kind of an exaggeration, but seriously.
Well, no, okay, because there are refrigerators that have.
Oh, nice! My super critical system that could not afford 2 seconds of downtime just got upgraded to Windows 10.
Well, okay,
thanks, Microsoft.
So that happened to a lady with a point-of-sale system and actually upgraded to Windows 10, and she, like, I think, filed a lawsuit against Windows because of lost profits and things like that. But
that is ridiculous.
No, okay, I forgot. Did your system forcibly upgrade on you?
No, actually. I think I did it myself.
Okay, so...
I actually think that I did it myself.
When the Windows 10 update came out, what I did was I upgraded, like, pretty much right away, because I was like, oh, okay, it's the... Okay, here's the thing. I had already been on the Apple ecosystem for a while, where Apple was releasing new operating systems. So I got into that habit of, oh, the new operating system's here. The new operating system brings new updates, really awesome, you know. And I will say this, in terms of operating systems, Apple has kind of figured out, they've got it down pretty well. So anyway, I was like, well, Windows 10 came out, they're offering it free, what the heck, I'll go ahead and upgrade, right? That lasted all of about maybe an hour before I was like, nope, this is a piece of garbage, and I downgraded back to Windows 7.
Well, Microsoft would have you think that's a downgrade.
So, but I think because I did that and I upgraded to Windows 10 by myself, I never got re-upgraded to Windows 10 forcibly. I actually
find that quite surprising that they never actually forced it on you again.
Yeah, so
lots of people who went far out of their way to try and make sure that they wouldn't get it forced onto them still got it forced onto them because, of course.
Yeah.
Because we're Microsoft and we know what you want.
I will say and I think part of my problem with Windows 10 was when I first upgraded, it was kind of a horrible operating system. It just, parts of it didn't work very well. I think the driver support wasn't there and things like that. And so, like I said, I went back to good old Windows 7, and I loved Windows 7. In fact, I still use it at my at work. It's a good operating system. But being in school where we were using Windows 10, I was forced to use it. Got used to it and was like, oh, this actually isn't as bad as I thought it was. But, at least a good year or so had passed by that point. So Microsoft had some time to work out their flaws and things. But yeah, still need to get rid of the stupid telemetry data in it, though. And for the love of God, Microsoft, quit with all the extra freaking crapware. And when I uninstall it the first time, just leave it uninstalled. I have gone off on rants about that before, but I don't understand why it's so hard for them to...
The Microsoft executives should be forced to listen to it every time.
Right? Yeah. Okay? Again.
As a punishment for doing this.
Again, if I uninstall something, there was probably a reason for it. Oh, you decided to uninstall that? Oh, that must have been a mistake. We're going to put it back on.
But yeah, because we're Microsoft. We know what you want. You want this back on your computer, don't you? Yeah, of course you do.
So that's why building a pre-configured, bootloader, with everything that I want already.
Bootloader? No.
Or not bootloader.
That's the wrong word.
But, like, pre-configured...
installation?
Or, yeah, like ISO, right? It would be beneficial because it would just allow me to get up and running a lot faster. So, anyway. Okay. Moving on. So California passed the strongest net neutrality law in the country. This is kind of cool. So California California legislature has approved a bill being called the strongest net neutrality law in the U.S., and it bans IPs from blocking and throttling legal content and prioritizing some sites and services over others. So basically, it reinstates the rules that were originally there with net neutrality. So, anyway. So the bill actually goes further than those rules with an outright ban on zero rating. Do you know what zero rating is?
I forget. I know I've heard it.
Okay, so it's the practice of offering free data potentially to the advantage of some companies over others.
Yes. Yep, that means they... In the example, the example of this is when they say that, if you use our video streaming service, it doesn't count as data on your data plan that only has they'll only allow you some tiny amount of gigabytes per month.
I see.
So in effect, if you want to stream videos, you're almost forced to use their service because, streaming videos takes quite a lot of data, and they kind of are a little stingy with the data because apparently the miners that were getting more gigabytes were a little bit slow this month or something from the gigabyte mine.
So zero rating would, however, it would still be allowed, but here's the provision, right? As long as the free data applies to an entire category of apps. So let's say, so let's say like streaming or whatever.
So you can zero rate your video service, but then you also have to zero rate every other video service.
Exactly.
That's my favorite. I love
Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, whatever other streaming services are out there. So yeah. So the bill was cleared with a final vote in the state Senate, and it was approved 23-11. Okay. And
that is fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. And it was initially approved back in May. Okay. So the bill had some changes in the ensuing months, and so it returned to its chamber of origin for final approval. Now, the Electronic Frontier Foundation called the final legislation a gold standard net neutrality bill. Okay. So now the bill needs to head off to the governor's office, or governor's desk, and California Governor Jerry Brown, he hasn't said whether he's actually going to sign it or not yet, but it's garnered the support of top state Democrats, including House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, as well as Senator Kamala Harris. Okay? Now, here's the thing. So if this becomes a law, internet providers are certain to actually try to sue the state of California. Okay? But there is an obstacle, kind of. Okay? So the FCC made a rule that prohibits states from creating their own net neutrality laws. That was kind of part of the provision in repealing net neutrality. And so the idea behind it is that, like, you know, we're abolishing net neutrality completely and not giving states the option to do what they want. Now, last week when we talked about how 22 state or 22 22 states attorney generals basically wrote a brief trying to reinstate net neutrality, because see, here's the thing, right? It would be great to have net neutrality as a whole again, but they put a provision in that brief that basically said if net neutrality isn't reinstated as a whole, at least give states the option to pass their own net neutrality laws. So, but see, here's the thing. So the SEC has already tried to act on that whole states can't create their own net neutrality laws, but that rule actually hasn't been upheld in court. So there is a glimmer of hope, at least if you live in California there. So.
Well, I personally hope that they are completely unsuccessful in stopping this from being created.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Good.
For sure.
Good. I don't know why anybody would not want this to be created.
It's a win for net neutrality. It's a win for the state of California. But here's the thing, right? So California is a large state, and if California does this, I'm sure that there are probably going to be other states that will follow.
Hey, look what that guy's doing. We should do that too.
Right? Not every state is probably going to follow along, but I'm sure certain states will. At least the 22 states that the 22 attorney generals were in will probably look at trying to do something. Now, whether legislation will get passed or whatever, that is yet to be seen. But anyway. But no, it would be a major win for net neutrality. And I think that, and we said this last week too, and that is net neutrality as a whole, covering the entire country, is ultimately what should be there, but at least having every single state being able to create their own laws is better than not having anything at all. So.
Yep.
All right, moving on. So, Zach, okay? Something maybe, I don't know what your budget is, right? But you know, your $49.90K. Is that what it is? It's a $49.90K, right? $47.90K.
$47.90K.
$47.90K. Is
And honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do with a lot of this stuff because a lot of this stuff is quite nice still.
I mean, okay, let me ask you this, right? Let's look at the graphics side real quick. Do you hang on to the 980 Ti, or do you get rid of the 980 Ti? Do you sell it? And
probably I keep it temporarily and eventually upgrade to something. I mean, I would kind of see. I mean, obviously, as we know, Nvidia is pushing out some new cards.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you go for 1080?
1080, no.
So
2080, maybe in some time because I can't spend all that at once. But
see, okay, this is what
down the line.
Hang on. Here's what I'm wondering though, right? Is it worth picking up a 1080 because the prices are going to drop because of the 2080?
No, because it's only 20% faster than what I'm already using.
Okay.
It's not really worth it. However, I would kind of like to see if, you know, the competition has anything to offer before I make a purchase of a graphics card.
Well,
although it'll be some time before I'm even thinking about it.
Well, and at that point, Intel might even have some offerings too.
That's why I said the competition, because it could be either of them.
See, my mind went to Radeon. So
Right.
or
Yeah.
ATX.
And actually, so did mine. But then you mentioned that, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
you know, the competition could include Intel as well.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, no, I was thinking ATX initially, but you wanted to pick up Vega, and then we found out
And
that
then I found out it was not really worth picking up.
yeah, Vega
So,
kind of was horrible
so
in
much for that.
in terms of gaming. So
Like I was on board when the
you were
speculation was,
you were
well, it
excited
could be
about
as
that
fast as
too.
1080 Ti. It could be as fast as 1080 Ti. It could be really good, and it will be a lot less expensive. And I'm like, okay, we'll keep an eye on that. Well, I
and then
kept an eye
and
on
then
it,
that bombshell came out.
and then it was no, it's not even close to as fast as a 1080 Ti. And holy crap, the power consumption.
Yes.
The power consumption.
So okay, but when you look at upgrading,
Thanks.
right? Okay. Here's the thing to consider. So Threadripper would be really cool, right?
A little bit on the pricey side, though.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you this, right? Because the second gen is out now, the first gen, the prices have dropped. Would you consider picking up a first gen Threadripper chip?
I feel like the clock speeds are not really what I'm looking for, though.
Well, okay, hang on. Let's talk about some pricing real quick here, right? So they're slashing some of the prices by $200 or more right now.
Okay, so it goes. So what is? I mean, what? There's 10 cores, or is it 12 cores at the lowest?
Well, here, hang on.
Threadripper ones.
Lowest? The lowest?
Yeah, for the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest is a 12 core 24. Oh, wait, hang on.
24.
Yeah. Yeah, 12 core 24 threads, right? So the best, well, that's what they say.
And what are they asking for that these days?
Okay, so for the best.
For on the Threadripper ones.
Right, hang on, okay? So they say the best bargain is for the Threadripper 1920X. So it's 12 cores, 24 threads, selling on Amazon for $466.98 right now.
Dang. Huh. Wow.
That's a huge drop from the original $800 price tag, though.
Oh, wow. That's actually that's a pretty compelling thing to think of.
That's why
Threadripper 2s are out. It doesn't make these ones bad.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to.
That's
why I wanted to run that by you, because see, here's the thing, right? Is you're not doing as heavy tasks as I might be doing with content creation.
I would like to mostly consider I'm considering the possibility of Threadripper 2 or Ryzen.
I think maybe.
I don't know. It's really a question of, do I want to wait a little bit longer?
Okay, to
Put
me,
some more money away for it.
To me, or do you look at Intel too? Because we have some pricing from Intel too, some more confirmed pricing.
Yeah, they kind of lost me when they were talking about ditching hyper-threading.
Right.
For no reason. That's ridiculous.
Well, we'll see what you think of the prices. We'll see what you think of the prices. I still think they're high, right? AMD is also cutting the price for the Threadripper 1950X. That's a 16-core, 32-thread chip, selling for $718. But the original price,
that's a little steep.
The original,
it was $1,000 before, wasn't it?
It was $999. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little steep.
Yeah. So it was German website 3D Center that spotted the discounts and published a pricing chart.
Curious how long those discounts are going to be remaining a thing.
That is a good point. Hang on. Here, let me because the pricing chart is hang on. Let me. Oh, that's not what I want. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds here. What? Oh. Okay. Copy that. Give that to you. Scroll down on this. Open this up. Okay. So this is like the full pricing chart right here. That's going to be slightly cut off, but that's okay. Okay, so here it is, okay? So for first gen Threadripper 1950X, which is 16 cores, 32 threads, $799. A first gen Threadripper. Oh, okay, nope. First gen Threadripper 1900X, that's 8 cores and 16 threads, is only $299. But can't you pick up the because well, that's basically the same as what I have, isn't it?
What?
In terms of core count and cores and threads.
Which one are you talking about?
The 1900X. Yeah, because I have a 2700X, Ryzen 7 2700X, which is an 8-core 16-thread processor.
Yeah, it is. There's no reason to buy that for $300 when for like $50 more tops you can get.
Well, the 1920, yeah, $399, 12 cores, 24 threads. So
I would mostly be interested in where the prices end up for maybe for either the 2700X or the 2920X, but I don't know.
2920? There's not a 2920.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
That's the.
Oh, I see it.
That's the 12 core.
Yep, I see it. 2920X, $649. Looks like retail.
I think that would only really be an option if I was willing to wait on the graphics card purchase.
Well,
and I'm actually
pretty
willing to do.
Here's the thing
I
to think
don't
about.
feel any real overwhelming desire to upgrade my graphics card. I think it performs admirably as of the.
Okay, well, you can hang on to that. You're probably going to need different memory because you're only running.
Yeah, sure. I'll just put my DDR3 in there. No problem.
Well, is that even compatible with the board?
No, it will never work.
I was going to say.
I'm being sarcastic.
Let's see. I mean, you can hang on to your peripherals and your screens. That's about it.
I will reuse my storage devices as well.
Oh, your storage devices. What about your power supply?
Probably reuse that too. It's a real nice power supply.
So you could. Oh no. Well, depending on what you get, you might be able to reuse the cooler.
It's this cooler. This is an H80i. I kind of maybe would like to get a dual size radiator.
I thought you had a Cooler Master 212 Evo.
No. I was thinking more the the Corsair all-in-one cooler.
Oh no, I thought we had the same cooler in our system.
Like an H100i type deal.
Oh no, you're talking for your new build. What'd you do in a new build? Yeah,
talking for the new build. I currently have the H80i, which is a single 120mm radiator.
H80i? I thought you had a 212 Evo.
No, I don't.
Anyway, okay. Yeah, your storage drives, but other than that, I can't think of what else really you'd pull. Yeah, I need a new board. Need a new.
It would basically be I get a new case, new cooler, CPU, motherboard, memory.
You get a new case?
And yeah, I probably would get a new case. And then because if I want to have the dual 140, like 120mm radiator on the cooler, it would have to be a new.
Let me ask you this. Do you do a mid-tower case again, or do you do a full height tower case?
Definitely mid-tower.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten used to the size of the full tower case. But this thing is definitely a beast.
I just don't really feel the need to just spend extra money for a bigger case.
Right. Like, and I did it by accident. I didn't.
Right.
Well, the hazards of building your first system. But anyway, hey, it runs. Accomplishment there. So, anyway, I really hope that Joe can scrape some money together because I'd really love to help him build a system.
I actually, I feel like maybe I could do a really good upgrade for like $1,000 and just cut out the graphics card for the moment and just buy that as I see fit.
Let me ask you this:
and
what
I see ability to do so?
This would get interesting, right? Well, I mean, you still have your gaming laptop, right? But what about this?
It's kind of old, and it's old.
Well, no.
We'll just say it's old.
But let me ask you about this.
No, I'm not going to use that.
No.
Very much.
No. Let me ask you this though, okay? It wouldn't be quite as fun, but maybe a possibility. your system would be a more than enough sufficient system for Joe. Would you maybe consider?
Problem is, I'm not getting rid of the entire box.
Right. So obviously there'd be, well, okay, he already has an SSD, so we're good there. We've got a mechanical drive. We have a graphics card that we could put in it. Granted, it's very much going to bottleneck the rest of the system, but that can always be upgraded later. Because think about it, you're not going to need the CPU. Probably a power supply, but other than that, because what else are you going to do with it?
I feel like that for the value of this system, I mean, you could build a cheaper computer that would suit him.
Okay. So what do you do with the old hardware then?
And also, if you build a new one for him, it's going to leave an upgrade path open.
That is true, but you also have to remember it is Joe, and
okay, but everybody's got to upgrade sometime, don't they?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I'm just thinking, considering what it is that he probably want to do, it would be a more than enough, probably powerful system for him.
It would be, no question.
So, I guess the question is, what do you do with the old hardware then?
I don't know. Could repurpose it, maybe.
I was gonna say, you know what you could possibly do is buy a server case or whatever. Like,
doesn't need to be a server case. It can just keep the case that it has.
Well, yeah, you could keep the case that it has too, but you could turn it into a server.
There's a possibility, although it would be very overbuilt for that.
Depending on what you want to do with it. If you turned it into like a Plex box or something, the additional, core count and thread count will probably help with some encoding for devices that have less power to encode video or whatever, probably. So I don't know, something to think about. So I know you wanted a server to play with, and servers are generally pretty beefy systems, depending on what you're
honestly,
doing.
I think if I was going to do that, I'd be better off just getting what money I can from this one and then just buying a cheaper server.
Or would you consider building a server? See, I've considered that. I've considered that too. I thought about building a a render server or something like that for videos or something. Well, half storage, half render system. I don't know. So.
Well, since those two things don't really overlap each other, that could be possible.
Yeah.
The storage is all going to be done on, drives, because that's what you store things on.
Yeah,
Rendering
exactly.
is all going to be done on the CPU.
And run it on, because see, now I have some extra systems, right? Because what I'm thinking about doing is buying like 2 4-terabyte mechanical drives and throwing them into one of the Dell systems that I have or something, and using that as a NAS, running Umraid or something. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll just buy an actual NAS box or something from WD. I haven't decided yet, but anyway. Oh, here's the other problem, though, about Threadripper. So, even if you were to pick up one of these chips for, $466.98 for the 1920X, you are going to run into a slight problem. And what is that, Zach?
The motherboard.
Exactly.
They're pretty expensive for those ones.
Yeah, you're going to need an X399 board.
See, I feel like...
And they run you anywhere from $300 to $500.
I'm also kind of wary of some of the, I guess, the kinks in the Threadripper 1 chips that have, been kind of ironed out with Threadripper 2, hopefully.
Interesting. Okay, well, real quick here, we're going to look at Intel's 9th gen chips again. We've looked at them before, but they've got some actual pricing that's been leaked. So the prices might not be as high as expected. So the 9900K, which is 8 cores, 16 threads, 3.6 gigahertz and a boost of 5 gigahertz on 2 cores, $534.
500 for that? That's really pretty steep. I mean, see, if I'm thinking about spending that much on a CPU, I feel like I might as well. Like I just would feel like I'm better off spending just a little bit extra and getting a 2920X with 12 cores, 24 threads, and getting, you know, a compatible board. And with these Threadripper chips, you know, it leaves you an option with the motherboards that you can typically upgrade later. The CPU, you can upgrade the CPU later without having to buy a new board. But
Well,
Intel just seems to love making these motherboards that are only compatible with what's out now, and then, you know, they come out with something new and you gotta buy a new board.
or okay, hang on. So when you upgrade, are you gonna go with Threadripper, or do you just buy Ryzen 7 and maybe do like 2700X?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I don't know exactly when I'm going to upgrade or anything. Like when I decide that I'm ready to upgrade, I will carefully consider all of my options.
Okay. The Core i7 9700K, which doesn't have hyperthreading because...
Yeah, and that's out of the question.
Right.
I need to have that.
Why? Again, Intel.
Because why?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Intel, please explain.
You know, I don't know all of the details surrounding hyperthreading, but
do you want to know
as far as I remember, it's not even a hardware feature, is it? Like, or it's not even it's not anything physical on the hardware. Like, you can, if you have a chip with hyperthreading, you can just go into your BIOS and just turn it on and off. It's like a switch in the software. Now, I believe there is at least a very minor amount of hardware that is involved in making it work. Like, you can't realistically say that this is a cost, so it needs to cost more.
Is this another one of those you can't run what was it, Kaby Lake processors unless you're running Windows 10?
Oh, come on. That's, like, come on. No, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is not really true. And I don't know if it's been done or not, but I would not be surprised if somebody's hacked together some silly solution that makes it work on previous versions of Windows.
Probably. So
and it just goes to show you how it's just thinly veiled BS, really. Like, they just want you to get Windows.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this, Zach. So for the privilege of owning a 9700K with no hyperthreading, with 8 cores and 16 threads at 3.6 gigahertz and a boost...
Wait, didn't you say with no hyperthreading?
With
so
no
it would
hyperthreading.
Be 8 cores and 8 threads.
Oh, I'm sorry, yep. 8 cores and 8 threads. I was looking at the wrong line. So, for 9700K, the privilege of owning a 9700K with 8 cores and 8 threads at 3.6 gigahertz base and a 4.9 gigahertz boost. What do you think that's going to cost you?
$350. Is it too low?
Yeah, $416.
Oh, come on. Not only, like, do you know how much the 4790K cost when I got this one?
No, how much?
$320. And that was, you know, these were top tier CPUs. The only better CPU you could really buy was the Extreme.
Okay. For the privilege of owning a 9600K, which is the Core i5.
And now, for the privilege, not really, of owning a straight up gimped CPU.
Okay, so
it's going to cost more. Like, oh.
Okay,
yeah,
so
whatever.
So here's the Core i5 one, right? The 9600K, which is 6 cores and 6 threads, base of 3.7 gigahertz, and a boost of 4.6 gigahertz. What is it going to cost?
That's going to be in the $300 range.
Pretty close, $257.
Okay, that's a little more reasonable.
Yeah, but you have no hyperthreading.
Well, yeah, I'm just pointing out that it's not as drastic a price increase for the product line. Like, the i5 typically costs in the $200 range, generally at the lower end of the $200 range, and now it's in the middle end of the $200 range, I guess. I mean, it's like a $30 increase, which is kind of senseless, but
yeah.
And i5 never did have hyperthreading typically, so I don't know. I see less of a problem there. They've tacked on 2 cores and they just neglected to add hyper-threading, which it never did have. So, okay, fine. Although I don't really see any reason for it not to have hyper-threading, but, you know, Intel aren't.
Right, yeah. All right. One quick little tidbit before we leave this week. Some rapid fire stories real quick. So did you know Apple has a self-driving car that they're working on? Did I lose you?
They did?
Yeah, they've got a self-driving car that they're working on right now. Anyway.
Ooh.
Okay.
I don't think I heard about that.
Yeah, so Apple's testing them out in California right now. Okay. One of them got rear-ended the other day.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's funny.
Yeah, I got rear-ended by a Nissan Leaf. I thought it was it was going to be in the show, right? And then I read the article, and basically it got rear-ended by another car. It wasn't a fault of the software itself. So at that point, it all of a sudden wasn't quite
Apple
as funny
is
anymore.
not responsible for that, unfortunately. We don't get to yell at them.
Yeah, right. We don't get to make fun of Apple, so that came out. Firefox is working on a web tracker blocker thing. It will soon block ad tracking software by default, so that's going to be kind of cool. I know you use Firefox.
Sure. I do.
And Samsung.
I have to use ad block, so I don't have much to worry about there.
Yeah. Oh, and Samsung is working on an 8K TV. Actually, they've released an 8K OLED
already
TV.
had that.
So, an 8K TV? There's been 4K TVs. Now there's an 8K TV. I still think 4K. I still think 4K is kind of a gimmick, but
I mean, it's becoming more and more commonplace.
It is. It is.
I mostly I guess I feel like it's becoming more common, but I still think it's kind of a gimmick in terms of 4K gaming. People talk about wanting to game at 4K, but the fact is that these days you just can't get enough FPS to really make it a good experience. Now, with the new cards coming out from NVIDIA, that could change. The 2080 Ti. Wow, I mean, it's very fast. Although I don't really approve of the price increase, which seems a little bit senseless.
Yeah.
But anyway,
NVIDIA's
eventually it'll become much more viable.
NVIDIA's got
kind of like VR, I guess. Well, maybe not.
NVIDIA has a choke on
VR requires.
Oh, go ahead.
VR is you're talking about having stuff specifically made for VR in order for it to even.
And NVIDIA has a choke.
VR, there isn't really a lot of VR content.
And like I said, NVIDIA kind of has.
As far as 4K gaming, you can just take any old game and just play it at 4K.
No, but NVIDIA kind of has a hold on the graphics card market right now, at least for discrete graphics cards. So
it's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
So that's a problem right now. But yeah, no, VR is actually. I know you think it's a gimmick. It's something that kind of interests me, and I want to experience it to see what I really think. But
I just think it needs some polish.
I think depending on what you're doing with it,
maybe not.
I don't know.
It also VR needs more content, really.
That's true too.
I have not
experienced
seen any content available for VR that just made me go like, "Gee, I wish I had a VR headset so I could do this." Don't really care.
So yeah, something I want to explore in the future, but we'll see. Something I probably could do with Redmond, but I'm not going to spend the money on it. I've got better things I want to spend money on. Anyway, all right, we have gone super long this week, but you know what? Hey, there were some good topics in here, especially those hardware ones. I know that those are always going to kind of pull Zach in. So anyway, but it is time for us to end this episode of the Ram Show. So I want to thank everyone for watching. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Get subscribed down below if you haven't done that already. It helps us out a bunch. Podcast will hopefully be up soon. Quick thing before we leave. So Joe was not responding to me for a while. I found out they actually hit their data cap of like 400 some gigs somehow.
Oh no, someone's streaming videos probably.
I don't know. Maybe. So, they've never had a problem in the past before. So, but yeah, they ended up hitting their cap. So, hooray for local co-ops with no what are the words?
Yeah, because they
no data caps and
they
no
the
throttling.
ISP, they ran out of gigabytes, so they had to be cut off.
So
unfortunate, isn't it?
Anyway, but
guess they'll need to go mine more gigabytes. The gigabyte mines where gigabytes come from, right?
Anyway, but yeah. So, with that, again, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week here on the Ram Show. Bye.